Oh, we'll see. Brendan Steinhauser is with us this morning. He's a political analyst. He's with the Alliance for Secure AI. He's the CEO of that. And we appreciate your time this morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. Good morning.
Yeah, what do you think about another big, beautiful bill? Who's talking about this?
Yeah, well, the House Republican Study Committee they have a working group on this, and that's a group of about, I think, 130 or 140 lawmakers in the House, and they're kind of a think tank for House Republicans. And I've attended a lot of their meetings over the years, and it's led by a congressman from Texas, Austin Pfluger. And they're basically looking at how do we capitalize on the win that we had previously, the one big, beautiful bill that the president signed into law on July 4th. What are some ways we can kind of up the ante and take it to the next level? So I expect there's going to be some ideas to come out of this conversation, and I look forward to seeing what they come up with.
Yeah, like what, though? I mean, what else would it carry forward? That last one was pretty significant.
It was. The first bill had a lot of good reforms in there on things like Medicaid spending, on student loans. It reversed a lot of the Biden, Green New Deal type things. And so I expect this version to focus, again, on some of those reforms, but also on making some of the tax relief permanent. So we talked about no taxes on overtime and tips. I would expect them to try and make that permanent in this next iteration of the bill, or this new bill, I should say. And also to double down on border security. Look, the American people elected Donald Trump and Republicans to secure the border. He did so with lightning speed. It was almost overnight. It was pretty, talk about winning. It was one of the biggest wins I've ever seen in public policy, ever. And so I think they'll continue to look at how do we fill those gaps? How do we make sure that the ICE has what they need? How do we make sure Border Patrol is fully funded to do their job? And then probably some other budget items as well. I know we have to get spending under control. We have to have some more regulatory reform. And so I think it'll be a continuation of a lot of those policies.
It seems like that was a holdup for some of these members of Congress, was the spending. They're sitting here, and obviously they had the rescissions bill, but they were saying, why are we still adding to the deficit? So you're saying you think that this bill would focus on that potentially?
I certainly hope so. I'm a little biased on that. I think we definitely need to get our spending under control. It's hard to do. It's been a bipartisan problem, but I think the Republican Study Committee has a long history of trying to tackle that and figure out how do we actually balance the budget, even if it takes 7 or 8 or 9 years. How do we get us on that track? Obviously, another debate that we had, and actually your Senator Josh Hawley was a leader on this, he was fighting to preserve the ability for states to legislate on AI policy. We know that AI is going to be a big boom to the economy. There's also some potential downsides, and so I know he was holding out to make sure there were protections for people on that. But I think with the president's plan on that topic and a bunch of other things that he's talked about in the last few weeks even, there's a lot of opportunity to move policy forward, move his agenda forward as well.
Yeah, and where do you guys stand on that, Brendan, just out of interest, on the AI thing? Because that's what your firm does, right?
Yeah, it's an organization, the Alliance for Secure AI, that we started a couple of months ago, and we're with Senator Hawley on this. I think he's been a big leader to allow states to have the ability to protect citizens from potential harms. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of, massive job losses are coming. There's an article in the Wall Street Journal this morning about that, again, with, recent college graduates struggling to find jobs. So we need to make sure that we do this thoughtfully and smartly. And so he's been a big leader on that. And we're looking forward to working with him and others to make sure that we get this right, because the president's right. We have to lead on AI. We have to reap all of the benefits and making sure we mitigate any risks.
I heard a great conversation on this yesterday. It might have been on the Brian Kilmeade show. I'm trying to remember, but they were talking about speaking of jobs, how many jobs are likely to be affected by AI, and by affected, I mean in some cases maybe eliminated.
Yeah, there's been a lot of reporting on this recently, and that is a big concern for ours. There's a number of CEOs that have come out and said they expect as many as half of white-collar entry-level jobs to disappear in the next 5 or 6 years because it's all going to be done by AI agents. And so we have to have a plan for that. That is something that, I don't necessarily want to see that happen, but I think we need to be prepared for that and have some policies in place. But again, I think Senator Hawley and others are looking at this saying, whoa, we have to make sure, we don't just replace workers without making sure that they are taken care of, making sure that there's, that they benefit from AI. This is not something we want to happen where, big tech concentrates all the wealth and power in their hands and the American people suffer for it.
Yeah, very true. All right. Brendan Steinhauser, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Absolutely.